Hello everyone, I'm Zita Mew and I'm an Assistant Educational Psychologist within the Redbridge Educational Wellbeing Team, or REWT for short. Today I'm going to present some research that I have been working on alongside Naomi Milliken, who's also an Assistant Educational Psychologist in REWT, and some other people that I've worked with across the country. Some of you watching and listening today may have been part of this research. We think it is really important that we share your thoughts with you and also with others so they can know how you are feeling, and we can keep doing the things that make you happy and change the things that are not going so well. I'm going to share the results from Redbridge children today, but your responses are part of a larger group from lots of children across the country, and we hope to share all of those responses with you in the future. You may be watching at school with an adult or at home with a parent or carer. If you have any questions while you're watching, you can ask an adult and they can pause the video for you and you can talk about it together. What did we ask you to do? In the autumn term of 2020, we asked you for your views and experiences of coming back to school after lockdown. We also wanted to find out what you would change about school. To find out your views, we asked you to fill out a questionnaire. Here are a few pictures of what the questionnaire looked like. You may remember filling it in. An adult at home or at school may have helped you. There were lots of questions, around 20. Some of them are questions where you had to choose an option, such as yes or no, or you had to say how much you agreed with something on a scale of 1 to 5. There were also other questions where you could answer with a phrase or longer sentences to tell us exactly what you thought. So who shared their views? We had 1,028 responses from our primary schools across Redbridge. We were so impressed by that number of responses. You can see that there were responses from all different year groups, from reception to year 6. So it was great to hear all of your different views from the different year groups. The first thing we asked you about was school attendance. Most of you were attending school either full-time, which 979 children were, or part-time, which 26 children were. Throughout the video, we've got lots of quotes of the thoughts and ideas that you told us, and we will read through a few of them. For those of you who are not attending school all of the time, some of the reasons you weren't attending were due to COVID-19 or illness. So for example, because my year group was placed into isolation after a positive case in the other class, or another child said because I've been sick some days. There were also reasons due to family circumstances. So for example, because my granddad died. And sometimes when sad things like that do happen, it means that we don't go to school for a little while, and that's okay. But overall, most of you were in school all of the time, and that's great. We wanted to find out how you all felt about being back at school. There were lots of you, around 400 children, who found it really easy or easy going back to school after lockdown. Around half of you found it okay, and then there were some of you who did find it quite hard going back. Lots of you had a long time away from school, so we can imagine why that would have been hard going back. We asked you if being back at school was like you expected it to be, and there was quite a mixture of feelings. Some of you said yes, some of you said sort of, and some of you said no. We wondered if it wasn't quite what you were expecting, what some of those reasons might have been. You may want to pause the video and talk about this with an adult or other children if you're in the classroom together. We also asked you, how does being in school make you feel? Lots of you said great, and some of you said okay. So overall, lots of you were good and okay going back to school, but some of you did find it hard, and it was a really tricky time, so we can definitely understand why that might have been. Who can you talk to at school? It's always nice to have someone to talk to if you are feeling a bit sad or have a problem. Even as adults, we really like having other people to share our problems with. Most of you, over 850 of you, agree that there is an adult that you can talk to if you have a problem. A similar number of you also agreed that there is a friend to talk to if you have a problem. It's great that so many of you feel that you have adults and friends to talk to in school if you have a problem. There were some children who said sometimes or disagreed that they had an adult or a friend to talk to. And we can think about how we can make sure that everyone has someone to talk to at school if they have a problem. If you have any ideas about this, please do share with an adult at school or at home. We'd love to hear your ideas. We then asked you about school safety. The majority of you did feel that school safety was good, with over 800 of you telling us that school is a safe place to be. We asked you to tell us more about your thoughts on school safety, and this is what some of you had to say. So some of you felt that school safety was great. So there were things such as cameras, which helped to know that if something bad happened, it can be seen and sorted out. And also there were adults and students to help. Also, you were happy that there was social distancing going on, and so you weren't mixing with other year groups. And some of you thought that things could maybe improve when it came to school safety. So for example, that we could do more about bullies so that people don't get upset. And you're also feeling a bit sad that you couldn't play with all of your friends because of the bubbles. So some really good thoughts there and ideas about how we can make school even safer than it already is. We then asked you about your learning. It's amazing that the majority of you, so over 830 children, feel supported in your learning. Lots of you, a similar number, so over 800 children, also feel confident in their learning, which is amazing. There were some of you who said sometimes to both of those questions, and a few of you who did not feel supported or confident in your learning. It's great that you were able to share this with us, as it's something that we can try and improve on in the future and work on with your schools. We asked you a little bit more about your learning and what you thought about the things you were learning at the time. Lots of you were feeling positive about the things you were learning. So for example, school is doing a great job prioritizing key subjects. Think that school learning is beneficial for your learning and development as a child, and you feel great because maybe in lockdown you weren't learning as much, and now you're back at school, you were learning lots. Some of you had mixed feelings. So for example, some subjects are easy and some subjects are hard. And then some of you were finding what you were learning quite tricky. So I find stuff really hard at school, but I try to do my best. And that's a really positive attitude to have. So when things are a bit tricky, as long as you try your best, it will be okay. We wonder, has this changed since last autumn? Maybe you can tell an adult what you think about your learning now. We asked you to tell us about exams and assessments. 20% of you were either worried or really worried about exams. 53% of you were feeling calm and not worried much about exams. The rest of you were somewhere in between, around 27% of you, and you had mixed feelings. Most of you, so 78%, had less than 5 exams or assessments. 20% had between 6 and 10 assessments and exams, and just over 1% of you had more than 20. Some of you told us a bit more about how you felt about exams. So for example, exams are good because it gives the teachers and myself a good understanding of what you are learning. So someone there feeling really positive about exams and finds them really helpful. Some mixed feelings, so I'm in the middle because we have missed out on learning during year 5, and that may impact our SATs if we have them. And then some people feeling quite worried. So I'm really worried if I don't pass. We know that after we sent out the questionnaires that the government decided there wouldn't be any exams this year. How did that make you feel? Did that make you happy, relieved, or maybe a bit sad? We asked you to tell us next about what school was like for you at the moment. There were lots of positive things. Some of them are related to coming back after lockdown. So it is fun to be reunited with my class and see my teacher. Other positive comments were a bit more general, so perhaps about the school dinners. So the positives are that our meals are different every day, and also how helpful school is and how it supports your well-being. So the school helps us in any problem, if it is physical or mental. There were also some mixed views about school. So for example, school is a bit strange because we can't go to different groups like we used to. So there's some feelings of uncertainty because of change and things being a bit different, which is perfectly normal. Some of you were also not having such a good time because you were missing some of the things you weren't able to do now that you could do before. So for example, missing extracurricular activities. So we can see that there were lots of different experiences from you all about how school was like for you in the autumn term. We are all different, and there's lots of different things that may have impacted the experiences that you have told us about. And we have some of them here now. They include cultural background, feeling lonely, so perhaps not seeing friends and family, and feeling different from others, but also positively celebrating the fact that everyone is different and being exposed to different religions within the schools, and also having hopeful people around you to inspire you. Finally, we wanted to know what your wishes were for school in the future, and this is when we really enjoyed reading as you had such wonderful ideas. We asked you what your magic wand ideas to improve or change school would be. We came up with ideas such as a mixture of in-school and online lessons, outdoor learning, and working with other year groups. Lots of you really liked our idea of doing creative activities such as painting and cooking, with 442 children selecting that option. You also like the idea of having a mixture of in-school and online lessons, as well as doing some of your learning outside. Some of the other ideas you had were around your learning, so more trips and outdoor activities, and also using more technology in lessons. Some wishes around your school environment. So for example, I want the school to make a rain shelter for when we are out and it starts to rain, and also larger seats in the dinner hall and water fountains. And then a really lovely and hopeful wish of just being kind to people, which is something I think we all wish for. We really hope that by sharing this with you and the adults in your school, we can try and make some of these wishes come true. So again, thank you all for sharing those amazing wishes. We found it so interesting reading all of your responses. From looking at everything you told us, there were some main themes which can help us make changes so that you can all have a really enjoyable time at school. Emotional well-being, so that's making sure you're happy. Experiences of education, so what school is like for you every day. The physical environment, so what your school building is like, for example, the classroom, the corridors, the playground. Relationships, so with your friends and also the adults at school. Safety, so how safe you feel in school and what we can do to make it even safer for you all. And inequalities and impacts, so that's about making sure that school is fair for everybody. Thank you again for sharing your views. They'll be really helpful for us to make changes in the future. So what all of this means for you and your school. We want to make sure that we are listening to what you have shared with us. Here are some of the things that we should all be thinking about following our research. Your relationships with your friends and adults are really important, and we need to make sure that we can stay connected even when we are not physically together in school. It is important that you are supportive of what to expect when there are changes in school. We need to be thinking about everyone's different experiences of school and how they can be supported and feel happy and safe. You should all feel supported and confident in your learning. You told us lots of different ways in how you would like your learning to take place, so we should be thinking about how we can make lots of those things happen. And lastly, it was wonderful to hear the views of all of you who shared and it would be great if you had a safe space at school to be able to share your views there too. Lots of these things are for the adults in school and people like myself who work with schools to think about. If you have any suggestions about how to help, I'm sure the adults in your school would love to hear your thoughts as much as we really loved hearing from you. Thank you for listening and watching the video, and also a big thank you if you did take part in the research, and also to the adults who helped you fill out the questionnaires. If you have any questions or anything you want to share with us, we would love to hear from you. Thank you. Bye.